Hi, welcome back to Journalism 412. I'm going to start working with Excel today and getting to know you a little bit more. As we all know by now, this is a quantitative literacy class, and we're going to do a lot of working with numbers and reporting using numbers and spreadsheets and learning how to manipulate spreadsheets full of data. And we're going to start off by looking at the results from the survey that I asked everybody to fill out online yesterday. So kind of a little get to know you exercise. And get to know your Excel too. So here is the survey data downloaded from the Qualtrics website. Now, you'll know this is set up, so this is an Excel spreadsheet. It is square, which is nice, right? Don't see any blank spaces or rows in here. No blank columns. Blank columns or rows will give you trouble when we get into more advanced functions. This top, so of course these are called rows, the number here. These are columns. Excel's like a grid or a table. The first row here is what you call the header row. And even though Excel treats this row like any other row, it's really different because this contains the labels for all the columns of information beneath. Glancing at the spreadsheet, how many members do we have in the class? 12, right? No. When you're counting the spreadsheet, remember the header row counts, so the numbers are one off as far as the number of rows in the spreadsheet, or the number of cases in the spreadsheet. To highlight the spreadsheet, click on the corner there. You highlight the whole thing. You can highlight an entire column by clicking on A, B, C, D, or whatever. Can highlight an entire row by clicking on the row name. Something else that you'll find helpful is the shift click. If you want to highlight a block of cells, that's what these are called, is cells. If you click on the first one, push down shift, and then click somewhere else, you'll get the square highlighted, the square area that you want highlighted. So that's kind of cool. I want you to notice here that there are different kinds of data in this spreadsheet, right? First and last names are text. We have some states. Here, year at Miami. That's kind of multiple choice, right? Junior, senior, freshman, whatever. So that's categorical data. It's putting you in categories. Over here, we have birthday. That's a date, and that is treated differently by Excel. And then, some more text. And over here we have numbers, currency. And we're going to do some work on these because, dollars you can add and subtract. Other things you can't, right? Categories, this category looks like, this year at Miami, looks like something that you could add and subtract. That's what it's supposed to say is year at Miami. But you can't because a junior plus a senior does not equal 7 or whatever. All right. So let me just show you a quick trick first. So you can change the size of the columns by just grabbing it and stretching it. There's a column you just don't want to see. For example, the survey tool recorded everyone's longitude and latitude, where they were when they filled the survey out, which is cool, and maybe we'll use that later to map everybody, but don't need it right now. You can just make it disappear. Now you can see the numbers the letters are missing, so that it still exists, but we don't have to look at it. All right. Oh, one other cool tool. Because the header row is labeling your columns, you often do want to look at that, even if you're scrolling down to where you can't see it. So a handy way to make that visible, if you click beneath it on 2, and then go here to Window Split, you get this little thing here, which allows that header row to stay in place even as everything else is moving around. So, helpful hint. Okay, so I'm going to undo my split. First thing you need to learn, next thing you need to learn, filtering, sorting, all that stuff is handled really easy with Excel now. Click on the corner here, Data, Filter. And then we get these little filter pull-down menus on each of our columns. These little pull-down menus let us do a bunch of things. That was Data, Filter to put it on. Data Filter takes it off again. You might have to put them on and take it off if you add a new column and it's not automatically on there. Data filter. So this lets us do things like, well, this first column is names. This is a text column. Can't add them, can't subtract them, but stuff like this we can alphabetize. So let's look here. On this menu, it lets you sort it in ascending order. Move everyone from Alexandra to Stephanie. Descending order, from Stephanie to Alexandra. Note that as you click this, as you sort ascending and descending, it moves this column around, but then it moves all this data so it goes with it, and these row numbers stay the same. So Stephanie Harris is not always number 2. If we sort it the other way, she is number 12, right? But she should remain a woman from Cleveland, right? All this other data should remain with it as it sorts. It's possible to screw that up. If you you can do something called sorting in columns by accident. Usually, it's not something you usually want to do on purpose, and screw up your data that way. So something to keep an eye on if you're sorting, to make sure it doesn't ask you any warning messages, any scare messages, and also that all the data sticks together. Okay, so as well as sorting like that, I'm going to expand this. You can use this little pull-down menu to filter and just see what you want to see. So let's say you can just use it to pull out one person, Robert there, or pick the people you want to see. So that's called filtering, when you pull things out. Now, something to note, filtering does not make a lot of sense, of course, on the names. The column here that might make sense on is on sex. So the survey tool, I guess 2 must be woman, and 1 must be man. So the survey tool. So say we decide we just want to look at the men. That was all the number 1s. Look, so we just pulled the men to the surface. Now something to notice when you do this. Looking at the edge now, the row numbers are in blue rather than in gray. And the blue tells you that some have been pulled forward. Now, something to watch out for. If you are working on a spreadsheet that's filtered like this, let's say, oh, I'm going to pull out the men, and then let's add up the total amount of money the men say that they are going to make. So you pull out the men, and then you think, all right, I'm going to do a little addition down this column. Doesn't work. When it's filtered like this and in blue, Excel will still do math functions on the stuff that's hidden beneath it that it can't see. So again, a way you can screw up. What to do if, let's say, you want to do some stuff with just the men, have a spreadsheet of just the men, really think about the guys. Filter it like you did here. Then highlight it, edit, copy, edit, paste special, values. And now look, now I have a spreadsheet down here that is just the guys. Or I'm sorry, yeah, a spreadsheet. You can add additional sheets to your workbook down there. That's just what I did. And there's the original one. And I'll get that filter off. One quick note, the reason that I did edit, copy, paste special values rather than just paste is to create a cleaner copy. If you paste special values, it only looks at the number in each cell and not whatever math it took you to get there. Doesn't matter in this instance, but it's something that will be important later on. All right, so showed you all these little, whoops. So the filter lets us rank anything, or select. It lets us sort or rank whatever we want in there. All right, the next thing I want to show you guys is how to add down columns. Very easy. Doesn't make sense with a lot of these. Well, let's look at this one here. Journalism classes. Can't really add up how many, well, I guess you could add up how many years people have been at Miami. Let's add up the total number of journalism classes taken by people in this class. So we're adding down the columns. Very easy. This is called the sigma here. You go to the sigma menu, sum. And then we go down and look at this. Well, that looks right. K2 to K12, K2 or K2 to K12. That looks okay. Hit return. So that's the sum of all the journalism classes people taken. That's how you add down columns. As well as adding, we can do other things down columns, right? MJF classes, let's say, rather than the sum, let's look at the average. What's the average number of MJF classes everyone in the class has taken? That anything where you're adding down the column, you can usually get to it here. More function. Oh, average is already there. Let's do the average. Average, and you can see it puts in the formula. You know it's a formula in Excel. If any cell starts with this equal sign, you know it is a formula here, and this is called your formula bar up there. So that's the average number, or the mean number of classes. And then you can also do additional functions. For example, well, let's do the let's say I want to do the median. The median journalism classes. Again, the sigma menu, median is not there. More functions. Well, there's median, but I'm just going to type median. There it is. Return. Look, make sure the numbers look correct. Return. And there it is. Now, the numbers will not look correct if there's an empty cell in here. That's when Excel tends to misidentify. All right, so that is how we add down columns. Now, that's for a sum of everybody in the spreadsheet, right? Now, instead, let's say we want to add across rows to make a computation for each person in there. Let's say we want to know not how many journalism classes they took, not how many MJF classes, but the sum of the journalism and MJF classes. All right, I'm going to create a new column to do this math in. Insert columns. So right here, Journ, MJF, and I'm going to call this one Journ plus MJ. You can call it whatever you want, but it is important that you label them. All right. To do this, the first thing we need to do, we're going to go into the destination cell where we want our answer to be, and start by giving it an equal sign so it knows it's a formula. And Journ plus MJS would be that plus that, right? K2 plus L2, and I'm going to hit return. Wow, look at that. Up here, the formula bar gives the formula, but down here it gives the number, which is what we want. And now we need to apply that formula to everybody in the spreadsheet. Now, there are a couple ways to do it. I'm going to show you two right now. The first, well, this is the kind of easy way. You pull it so it's that little special cross here. Whoops. And whoops. No, that little special cross, and drag it down. Automatically fills the number in for everybody. And then if you look down here, that one says, if you look up here, equals K3 plus L3, and we're in the 3. Yeah. So basically, it does the same formula, but changes the row reference in each one, which is what we want. So that's a cool way of doing it. If you just have a small spreadsheet like this, if you have a big spreadsheet with like hundreds or thousands of rows, like most of them are going to have, you can do it with the shift click. Click on the top one, shift, just highlight the whole area, and then edit, fill, or down. Edit, fill, down. And so that's how you do a math function down a column. Across a row. Now let me show you one last thing, and then I think you'll be ready for the exercises this week. Some of your exercises are going to require you to compute percent change. And so you'll use probably these columns here. How much money they earned before. People say they earned before Miami. Whoops, wrong column. How much did you earn before Miami? How much do you expect to earn after Miami? How much do you expect to earn in 10 years? So you'll be doing some computation on these columns by creating a new column here, and again, writing your formulas. Something to keep in mind with percent change is Excel does follow the order of operations that you might remember from high school. So, percent change, as we all remember, right, equals, I'll put the equal sign in, equals new minus old divided by old. And so new, well, if you want to go from before Miami, new would be the more recent, minus old divided by old. So look at this. This formula won't work unless you put in the parentheses for the order of operations like this. Understand what I'm saying? Because otherwise it'll divide the R2 by R2 and just get 1. So order of operations on these ones. If you don't get what I'm talking about, you will soon.